I will bring back my exiled people, Israel. They will rebuild the ruined cities and live in them.
As finally, by the grace of God, in reconstruction.
Astounding, isn't it? The events unfolding today were foretold in ancient biblical texts spanning millennia. In this captivating video, we explore the mysterious connections between historical happenings and the prophetic verses within the Bible. Join us as we traverse from past events to present realities and onward to future prophecies outlined in the Bible. Today, we will center our focus on Russia, both during the Soviet Union era and in the post-Soviet landscape, examining how it aligns with specific apocalyptic imagery. The book of Revelation speaks of a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns.
And I saw a beast rise out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy.
Let's delve deeper into this symbolism. The Soviet Union, during its existence, saw a succession of 7 leaders. Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin, Nikita Khrushchev, Leonid Brezhnev, Yuri Andropov, Konstantin Chernenko, and Mikhail Gorbachev shaped its course. Each leader left an indelible mark on history, much like the heads of the biblical beast. In the book of Revelation, specifically in Revelation 13:3, it is written,
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Notably, Lenin, the first head of the Soviet Union, mysteriously survived an assassination attempt by Fanny Kaplan in 1918, despite being fatally wounded. Joseph Stalin made a cult out of Lenin, placing his mummy in the mausoleum where it remains today. This parallels the concept of a wounded head that heals. In our exploration of biblical imagery and historical parallels, we now turn our attention to the 10 horns mentioned in the book of Revelation. These horns symbolize nations or powers that play a significant role in shaping world events.
The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose and will give their power and authority to the beast.
During the height of the Soviet Union's power, 10 countries fell under its direct influence. These nations were Albania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Yugoslavia, Mongolia, and North Korea. These nations maintained close ties with the Soviet Union. Moreover, the Soviet Union directly influenced the selection of leaders in these countries. Let's now delve into additional biblical symbolism. In the book of Revelation, specifically in Revelation 18:4, there is a powerful call from heaven.
Then I heard another voice from heaven say, Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues.
In the 1980s, under the leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev, the Soviet government implemented policies that allowed for unlimited Jewish immigration. This marked a significant departure from previous restrictive measures. Approximately 1.6 million Soviet Jews and their relatives left the country. Now, let's explore which other biblical prophecies are unfolding today. The book of Revelation paints a vivid picture of economic upheaval and despair. Consider the following verses.
And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchants who sold these things and gained their wealth from her will stand far off, terrified at her torment. They will weep and mourn and cry out, Woe! Woe to you, great city, dressed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. In 1 hour, such great wealth has been brought to ruin.
In our contemporary world, we witness echoes of this lament. The ongoing war and sanctions have significantly impacted trade relations with Russia. Many Western companies left the Russian market. Economic ties that once flourished now face disruption. The book of Daniel from the Old Testament also describes a vision where a terrifying and powerful fourth beast emerges. This beast possesses large iron teeth, crushes its victims, and tramples everything in its path. It stands apart from previous beasts and bears 10 horns. Among these horns, a smaller one arises, uprooting 3 of the initial horns. This smaller horn has human-like eyes and a boastful mouth. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, which had 7 leaders, Russia witnessed 3 distinct presidents who shaped its course. Boris Yeltsin, Vladimir Putin, Dmitry Medvedev. These leaders represent the echoes of the past. The Book of Daniel alludes to the 10 horns, and among them, the last horn holds particular significance. In Daniel 7:8, we find a description of this horn. This symbolism resonates with historical and geopolitical shifts. After his return to the presidency of Russia, Vladimir Putin harbored a vision of restoring the Russian Empire and even contemplated a revival of the Soviet Union. Now let's delve into the biblical prophecies that provide insights into what lies ahead. The book of Daniel states,
I kept looking until the beast was killed, and its body was destroyed and given to the burning fire. As for the rest of the beasts, their dominion was taken away, but an extension of life was granted to them for an appointed period of time.
This passage suggests that, unlike other empires that lost their power but continued to exist as countries, Russia is prophesied to face complete destruction. The book of Revelation also paints vivid pictures of the future.
And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before God, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath.
The European portion of Russia would witness the emergence of 3 independent countries. These newly formed nations would navigate their own paths, each with unique identities, governance, and aspirations.
And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
The book of Revelation alludes to kings from the east. In this context, we allocate the lands situated east of the Ural Mountains to the countries of the rising sun, Japan and China. These regions have historically been part of these ancient civilizations. Now the most crucial question arises. When will these events unfold? Daniel 7:25 reveals that the little horn will persecute God's people, arrogantly making speeches and attempting to alter established norms. This reign will persist for time and times and half a time. Let's consider Vladimir Putin's presidency. He served his first term from 2000 to 2006. Then Dmitry Medvedev held the presidency for 1 term. In 2012, Putin returned for 2 more terms. Now, in 2024, he begins his next and final term, which, according to biblical prophecy, will be half a term. Given that Russia's presidential term is 6 years, Putin's presidency will conclude in 2027. Remarkably, he will not be overthrown or assassinated. Instead, the Bible suggests that ultimately he will be broken by God's hand, passing away from natural causes. Here you have it, folks. Whether coincidence or divine design, earthly events intertwine with spiritual revelation encoded in ancient texts. Thank you for joining me on this thought-provoking journey.